Well, my name is Jeremy Bernstein. I am an MBA candidate at USC Marshall, so kind of the fish out of water here. But to give you some backstory, I was a writing major, undergrad, illustration, secondary focus, went on to work for Disney Animation right out of college, and then went on to work in advertising as a copywriter, designer, and ultimately account executive. So what am I doing here? Well, it's really to monetize all the art you guys love to make, to give you the ability to make money for your projects. But this is something that's kind of a passion project, so I'm hoping you guys are interested. Social clues, okay? We've got a bit of a header up there. Learning social cues to solve the clues. What is it? Okay, it is taking too much of the screen. That's what it is. It is a point and click, there we go, thank you. A point and click role-playing puzzle game for children with autism and developmental disabilities teaching pragmatics and social skills. Okay, so some quick autism stats. 1 in 88 children is autistic, and what that means is that that's a growing statistic, and it's a population we definitely need to target and help out with. Some of the behaviors they exhibit are impaired social interaction, impaired communication, and they lack intuition about others. But they have a strong affinity for technology and video games. So what this is really about is building a game that's got a dual purpose. It's gaming and learning, okay? So everything that factors into the game, every component, has also a puzzle element to it. So point and click is all about exploration, maybe dialogue trees are about learning conversation, puzzles themselves are problem solving, etc. So everything you see and play in the game will actually ultimately benefit the player. What I imagine here is that this is basically kind of going to be a combination of Brain Age and Monkey Island. Okay, so Brain Age in that you have these sort of repetitive tasks and these really appealing, fun games, but they're really brain focused, right? It's learning, but while you strengthen that muscle of your brain and learn how to do those things better, what's going to keep you playing is that you've got a really great narrative, like kind of like Monkey Island, and those dialogue trees where your choices ultimately affect how you work through the game. And so what that really means is we're building something that's both therapeutic and entertainment. Okay, so platform, what are we building on? We're going to build for Apple iOS, and then we're going to ultimately port to Android as well as PC and even web browsers. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use Unity, which is kind of going to be either a 2D game or 2.5D game, but Unity now can also run in browser. So ultimately, we can build whatever we want. We can even go to 3D because of the universal appeal of Unity and its abilities, if that makes sense. Story. So let's get to this narrative I was talking about, right? What's going to keep players engaged? Well, this is all about the Mum family. And the Mum family is a family maybe not dissimilar from many you know, where they come home after work and school and all they do is sit and watch TV and just keep flicking through the channels but never talk to each other, right? So what happens is one day while watching TV, bam, crash, they hear something. They run upstairs and they see that their toy box has been raided and someone has stolen all the children's toys. So now the kids have to explore the city, speak with townspeople, to ultimately recover their toys, solve the mystery, and learn the power of communication. And who are those kids? Who are our players? Participate and communicate. They've only known themselves as Pete and Kate, but now they realize, wait, that's just my short name. I was really called Participate, and my name's Communicate. And these are, of course, key behaviors we want to teach autistic students about participation and communication. What about our game world? Well, as someone coming from animation and Disney animation, this thing has got to live and breathe something that really pops and really consumes our player, because we need to keep their focus, because their focus can be lost easily. So it's going to be highly stylized, bright colors, simple cartoony characters with emotions they can read easily, right? And it's going to be an illustrated isometric perspective, so kind of this 2.5D, maybe a 2D background with 3D characters, maybe full-fledged 3D. We'll see as we develop it further. Intended gameplay. So this should give you a visualization of kind of what we want to build. And really, this is a game here on the top left called Eat Sheep. Every level would be just one single room, so we can keep the player's focus, right? And what you do is you walk around, and almost like Zelda, right? You interact with different characters. There'd be about 5 per level, and you talk with them. You have dialogue trees. You have to choose the appropriate or less appropriate response, and they send you on little tasks, and you solve puzzles. And that right here is a picture from The Walking Dead, which is not at all the tone of this project. But I know, right? It wouldn't be great. But it shows you how there's these dialogue trees, and you choose one of 4 different options, and we keep track of that behind the scenes. So level details. Okay, self-contained. It's a single room where you find one toy. It's about 5 interactive characters, 7 to 10 minutes to complete. In terms of the scope of Advanced Games Project, we're only building 3 levels: a tutorial, a classroom, and a school cafeteria. Okay, so really keeping this focused. And then the goal in each level is, of course, to collect that toy, but ultimately collect 5 toys per world, unlock new worlds, and you'll see here some great concept art of exploration, social cues, conversation, etc. Okay, gameplay elements. All the puzzles and tasks involve things like reading facial expressions, initiating conversations. Maybe it's sequencing, cause and effect, problem solving. but every time you're set on a task, it's something that's really rooted in the behaviors we want to train autistic students in, or rather have them repeat, as well as developmentally delayed children. So it's all seamless. Post-level diagnostic, this is really what's key here. You play Angry Birds right now, and after you shoot aimlessly, shooting the birds, right, you get a score of 1 to 3 in star form, right? So we'll still have a star grade, a star rating, but it's 1 to 5 stars. But then you also get this really complex spider chart where it's telling you maybe how you did in terms of emotional awareness, how you did in terms of comprehension, recollection, etc. And so what we're really doing is we're showing the player, here's where maybe you're waning, but here's where you're excelling. And so they know what they need to work on. And maybe future levels can also say, hey, I know in level 2 you kind of were doing poorly here, so we're going to change now the task at this level so we can work on that. In terms of the prior case studies, the science behind this is something called social stories. Without getting into the science too much, it's effectively all about modeling behavior. So the goal is you want to show an autistic student, here's how you do it appropriately, then they follow that behavior after the fact. And so this game is a perfect opportunity to do that because the game player, the actual character, is the model. And they use that model to see, oh, that was right, that was wrong, I gotta try again. Social Stories itself has won a ton of awards, and it's now like sort of the foundation of all speech pathologists' curriculum. So really great science behind it. Why are we building this? Well, it's because early behavioral intervention helps develop social skills, communication skills, varied interests, etc. The earlier we can target this demographic, the more the more growth we'll see, right? The more progress. So we want to hit them early with a game that's really fun to play that's going to replace their other iPad games. It also supplements therapy, so it's practiced outside of clinical care, eases demand on parents, which is so important, but also adds a fun factor that isn't there yet. Right now, all the games for autistic students on the iOS store are really just card games that have been made into a digital format. Doesn't that population deserve a game that's as fun to play as all the ones we love to play, as great a AAA title as like a Zelda, but also helps behind the scenes? Audience, well, we've talked about autistic students and developmentally delayed, so maybe ADD, ADHD, Downs, but any children, all children for that matter, ages 4 to 10, need to learn social coaching, pragmatics, how to interact with people. So this can also be for all of them. And the consumers here are really the people who are going to provide this game to those students. So it's therapists, it's parents, and it's schools who may actually decide to buy like subscriptions to this and a service to ultimately have that as a special ed class or in the class in the computer course curriculum. This we cut, but just so you know, as an MBA, we've thought about monetization here to make sure everyone gets what they deserve for the work they've done. Our current team, so you've met me, I'm the team lead and director. Karen Okren is the co-creator and also a speech-language pathologist, so she's the science behind all this, making sure that the puzzles and tasks achieve their goals. Mariantina Gotsis is our faculty mentor who's very excited about the project. She also is the director of the Creative Media and Behavioral Health Center. Genevieve Conley is our producer. She's, oh, there she is. She's a former MIT student who knows cognitive science, as well as much production work producing in industry. Fotis Frangudis is here. He's going to be our senior lead engineer, lead engineer. Andrew Goldstein signed on as our senior game designer, which may turn into lead designer. And then I've got some unexpected people here, okay? Eyal Padel and Richard Chain, who are a creative consultant. One's an actor and screenwriter who's got a film right now that's being shot in Hollywood, and the other is a financial consultant because they just want to see the narrative be as strong as it can be, and also that we get the grants and the money that we need to build this thing. And then the missing component is you, because you've seen this team is a little top heavy. We've got some of our leads, but we need people who are going to make this game something special, really awesome. You know, take all of your expertise, imbue it in there, and make it something we never thought it could be. So time? 9 minutes. Okay. So at this point, you're probably saying edutainment. Oh, boring. I don't want to be a part of this, right? If you're an engineer, you want something that you can really showcase your talent, right? If you're an art director, game designer. Well, let me tell you this. First and foremost, that's insulting. But second, I've got a list here of 5 reasons why you might want to be a part of this, okay? The first is exposure. We're all going to be in advanced games, right? Because we want good jobs. We want to come out of this program with opportunities. No matter how good a game you build, if you don't have exposure, people don't know about it, you're not going to get a job. But I assure you, this project, what's behind it, the philosophies, you will get exposure, okay? 2, it's a game first. We're building something like a Zelda. We're building something fun to play first, something you're going to enjoy. You yourself will pick it up, but also other students. 3, complex science behind the scenes for those engineers who are wondering, hey, how can I showcase my talents? Well, guess what? The entire diagnostic element behind this means that we need to build something complex, and you're going to do something fantastic if you're a part of it. for, and this may seem like a cliche, but game changer. And don't just be like, oh, what a big idea, it's a game changer. No, we are changing games. We are actually changing what games are about. It's no longer these mindless distractions, but it's more mindful interactions, okay? And 5 there, it would mean a lot to me. You know, I'd appreciate if you guys did this, it'd be awesome. So, that all being said, I thank you for your time. This is Social Cues, social learning through interactive games, and I open it up to a Q&A.
Do we have time for Q&A?
Are we doing Q&A?
Due to the fact that we have so many teams, we're giving each team 10 minutes total, including Q&A, so unfortunately...
That being said, I have Fodos and Genevieve here. If you want to talk to either of them or myself, I have a prior engagement. I might skip out within the